With some more of our questions, and the first question I want to talk about is what's the right way to use a collar? People ask us that all the time. It's very, very important to understand, because almost everybody perceives the collar as we're going to use it to correct unwanted behavior. And I know we've had videos about this before, but they were a while ago. That's going to be the least effective way to use the behavior. Under the principles of avoidance training, you're making desirable behaviors stronger. You're not decreasing unwanted behavior, so there's an enormous difference there. Punishment training seeks to decrease unwanted behaviors, and that's going to be very, very difficult to do. Whereas if you're increasing desirable behaviors, that's going to be way more effective. And I mean, they use this kind of psychology with people and everything too, you know. So punishment training, least effective way. Avoidance training, most permanent way, because we're using the collar to increase desirable behaviors. Then we can use the collar a little bit to decrease whatever the unwanted behaviors that we don't have are. But people that don't know anything about the collar want to get the collar, and how do I correct this, correct this, correct this? The best thing to do is do like we're talking about, do the 3-action introduction, and use the collar to increase the behaviors of the dog coming to you, the dog staying, and the dog moving away. So if we're doing that, we're helping just by virtue of that to decrease the unwanted behaviors. So, all right, and then the other question was, can you switch other remotes to the collar? Can you, what was this?
Sync
other remotes to the collar.
Can you use another remote for
Oh, did someone ask that? Oh. Sonia's in charge of the questions. You mean, could you have, was it that they could have 2 remotes for one collar?
Remember they forgot the collar and they dropped the dog off at their house?
Oh,
and she wanted to know if we could
sync
sync one of our collars
okay.
to their collar.
Oh yeah, oh God no, God no. Oh, that was Joyce and Chris asking that, no. But you actually, if you guys did lose, and that happened around here, and I'm still trying to figure out, I'm very suspicious about what happened to the remote. If you did lose either the collar or the remote, rather than getting a new collar, you can send whatever half you have back, and they can make either a new remote or a new collar. Okay, you forgot to tell me they asked that question. That's why I didn't know that. No. Okay, but no, all of them are set on different frequencies. Supposedly you could have 1,000 of them in one little 1-acre area, so they claim. How would they know that? I'm not sure. Okay, so then the other person was, what if I accidentally hit the wrong button? That is going to happen, you guys. Once the dog is conditioned, in the beginning, it's better just to have your nick set on 0 for a lot of people, and then you're just doing the pager. Once that you produce expectation that something's going to happen, to accidentally hit the nick in the wrong place isn't going to be a disaster. So, and then someone asked, my dog does not seem to feel the collar. Okay, I'll tell you the biggest mistake that we see people making, you guys, is they do not put the collar on tight enough. And we'll do a video later in the week about that. The collar needs to be tight enough that can you help me with this little bump there on the pager? The collar needs to be tight enough that it's making contact, and that you've seen that happen around here before, you guys, where we've got to tighten up the collar. So that's a big mistake. Besides not holding the pager button down long enough, that's the biggest. People bring the dog back for boarding, it's wearing the collar like a medallion. All right, and then somebody asked, can you use a continuous instead of the pager? No, you can't. There's way too much margin for error using the continuous. You know, and then people will say, well, if it vocalizes, it's too high. You think? You know, so you don't want that. Potentially a very soft temperament dog, you hit it too high, unless you know how to fix that, you've got big problems. Okay, oh, this was the other question. What treats do we use? All right, let me just tell you this, you guys. I'll tell you what treats we don't use. We don't use milk bones. We don't use liver snaps. We don't use any kind of biscuits. We don't use the dog food. You want to use the most motivating treat. Even though we have in the past had a couple dogs that were overly ravenous that would tear your hand off. If you had one like that, then you would want to use a lesser kind of treat. Generally speaking, though, you want to use the most appealing treats possible. I don't like the bacon strips either. They're too hard to break into small pieces. Either the Natural Balance Roll or the Gwaltney Great Dogs, we dice those up and use those. Or, you know, there's various other, those are really going to be the least expensive. The wellness treats, which Deanna uses for Jameson, I mean, honestly, those are so expensive and they eat the whole bag in one day, so we definitely don't recommend those. All right, you guys, keep those questions coming.